If you offered me, an Australia fan, 263 at the start of the day, I may have negotiated with you and try to get that up to 300. But look, we weren't embarrassed, and a few of the deliveries stayed low. So, look, India still hold all the cards. I think it's their day, but a few of the deliveries staying low there at the end provides me with a little bit of hope. So, to try and make some inroads, hopefully tomorrow. Welcome to our day one review of the second test between India and Australia. I just want to say a quick thanks to all the viewers for the response on our first test coverage, particularly the video on Fox Sports. So you can check out the link there in the description or on our channel page.
No one
And
likes Fox Sports.
it's good response, and yeah, thank you to everyone for that. And with that, I'll introduce my co-host Nash. What'd you make of the day, and how were you?
Yeah, look, I think honestly, first of all, thank you to all the listeners and viewers to for giving such a positive feedback on the previous cricket dailies for the first test. But coming to the second test, I think I was a bit disappointed with the score 263 that India. I think India let Australia score probably 30 or 40 more than they should have. And they did not bowl as well as they did in Nagpur, especially the start. I think there were a few wayward deliveries here and there, and that led Usman Khawaja sort of off the hook at the start with the new ball, especially on this kind of pitch and in these kind of conditions where we all know what Shami and Siraj can do. Siraj bowled really well, but from the other end, Shami did not put the same kind of pressure, and sort of that meant quick runs. And I think they were probably 80 or something already in the first session, I think, if I'm correct. And that sort of let the pressure go, and that allowed the batters, especially Usman Khawaja, to score not quickly as such, but at least keep the scoreboard ticking. But Ashwin, I mean, what else can we say? He brought India back into the game with those two wickets of probably not probably, but Australia's best batters. And what do you know? Both right-handers.
Yep.
Australia was so worried about Ashwin getting the left-handers. They did not
Yeah.
see coming. They did not see him coming.
And it
Um,
was a special bit of bowling too, wasn't it?
oh, it was lovely. A couple of people on the comms called it natural variation, but I don't think they understand what natural variation is when it comes to these kind of pitches. And it's what Ashwin was showing there with the seam position, and
Yeah.
perfectly analyzed by Dinesh Karthik on the comms as well, as the ball to Manas was more, the seam position was more towards leg slip, and the ball to Steve Smith, the seam position was more towards square leg, and that sort of allowed the ball to go straight after landing on the seam. Brilliant. We that's why he's one of the best, if not the best.
100% agree on the Ashwin thing. He's also the kind of bowler. He's a very smart cricketer to do something like that. And I saw the subtle variation in the replays. Um, People might struggle to pick it up and say that's just the natural variation, but I think just that more horizontal seam for the Smith dismissal. And
Yeah,
I got a reply to a tweet that Smith shouldn't have played at that ball, or he got out to a nothing ball. And I couldn't disagree more, because he's just seen his mate Marnus get out to one
absolutely.
that's spun back,
Absolutely. Yep.
where the ball pitched literally in the same spot, maybe just a little bit back of a length compared to the Marnus dismissal, but almost just about the exact same line. So, and Smith, you could see in the dismissal, he tried to get his pad outside the line of off stump, but when it slides across like that, you just got to hope you miss it.
Yep.
And Smith was just, yeah, just that day where he feathered it.
I just want to touch on quickly there's something I realized, and I'm not being a fanboy or anything here, but um Ashwin and Smith has been a really great battle, but you can't deny, even as an Australian, you can't deny that Ashwin has had the upper hand in that battle. Um
Yeah, maybe since the 2020 series, because I looked at the
yeah,
stats before this series, and Smith was averaging 58 against him in India before
yeah,
this
yeah,
series.
yeah, yeah.
So Ashwin's done really well. I remember that Adelaide dismissal in the game India were bowled out for 36.
Yeah.
He got the ball. He dismissed him in the first innings with one that went straight from over the wicket.
Yeah.
So he's targeting Smith's outside edge and he's doing it really smartly. So
Yeah.
he's had his number
And
for since that series. I think he's kept Smith very quiet in that
yeah.
time. So Smith's got to come up with an answer quick.
And a great take and a great catch
Yeah,
behind the stance by
great
Case
catch.
Parath,
That one stayed
and
a bit low. Yeah.
that stayed low as well. And I'll actually go right back at the toss and before the game. What were your thoughts on the team selection by Australia for this test?
My initial thought was we need to win the toss because you play with a team
Yep.
like that. Again, it just comes back to, I was surprised we only played one seamer. I was expecting we'd play two and have Stark there. That was the original thought, but I can see why they go with the three spinners. I can see why the pitch is now really it's starting. There's spin on day one. There's some uneven bounce, but potentially Stark for that reverse swing. So it's just a very difficult decision to make when Cameron Green's not there. So you can go either way. It's tough, and I can understand either way. So you just got to bowl well as a unit tomorrow.
But if
Uh,
if you would have played Cam Green, for example,
yeah.
hypothetical, if you would have
Mm.
played Cam Green, who would you have dropped?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think it would have been Hanscom if that was the case. And look how
Exactly.
well
And
he's
he's
played.
probably,
And he
yeah,
played
exactly.
and he played very well in the first test as well in the first innings. I thought he looked good
And he's
there as
probably
well.
one of the better players of spin.
I'm going to touch on him in a sec, but I wrote a tweet in the first test talking about what my second test 11 would be, and I had Warner out and either Renshaw at the top, just because Renshaw's a specialist opener compared to someone like Hanscom. Because if I'm going to put Head and Green in the team, where does Hanscom fit in?
Yep.
So there is the potential to put Hanscom at opener going forward if Cameron Green comes back, because where else do you put him? Where else
Yep.
do you put him? That's the question. There's no other
And I think
spot if you've got Head there. Um,
and I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because what Australia is really struggling on this tour so far is that Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel difference is that spinner who can bat and provide
yeah.
50, 60 runs or even 30, 40 runs. And,
Mm,
that's what's really lacking in that, because if that happens, then it's easy. You can pick three spinners easily who can give you
yeah,
a few runs as well. And then you get that opportunity to play two paces in, let's say,
correct.
Hazelwood, Bowl, and whoever that is. And that's what Australia are missing.
Yeah, we're just missing a bit of balance. I think in our team, we're just a bit short on balance. So it's very tough to get the right attack. But we batted first, and a couple of deliveries really stayed low. Mark Waugh's always you know he's open for criticism, but I thought he was spot on at the end there about Nathan Lyon's line. I thought it was too leg side.
Mm.
The ball is spinning and it's going to miss leg. And when the ball's staying a bit low and it's spinning, you want to bowl the line Ashwin did.
Yep.
You want to because then you bring the slip into play. You
Yep.
bring the slip into play when you go the outside off stump or just on off stump. You can get it to slide across or spin back in. It's very difficult to play. Very
Mm.
difficult to play because you try to get across to cover the one that goes straight, but then you can get one that turns back into you and pin you LBW or get a catch at short leg or something like that.
Yep.
So that's one thing I think to watch out for tomorrow. But I want to touch on Kawaja and Hanscom. Both of them were contrasting knocks. I was absolutely devastated when Kawaja got out because it was that partnership
What
where
a
it
brilliant catch.
was a great catch, but I was devastated because it was that partnership that was building. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, please let this be a big one. Because how many times today Australia lost a wicket, then lost another one straight after? There
Mm.
was at least
Yep.
three occasions when that happened because a few of the guys got ducks. So that was really because the partnership was really blossoming there. And yeah, it was just that hope that if you want to win in India, you need a big partnership, a big score. And Khawaja was devastated too, but he played really well. I thought he was pretty good with his shot selection most of the day. Um, and he took the attack to the bowlers. I thought he played a nice knock, but I was really impressed with Hanscom. I thought
Yep.
his defensive game at Nagpur in the first innings was good, but this was another level today. He was excellent front and back foot, either got fully forward or fully back,
Yep.
and
And I think,
and picked off the runs where he needed to.
yeah, and I think this pitch suits his kind of play. He gets his bat in front of the pad. He's not, he doesn't keep it back, and this pitch keeping low, sort of that a bit slower turn than Nagpur, and this pitch keeping low means that he could get that bat in front of the pad and not have the fear of sort of ball popping somewhere,
Mm.
or spinning out of nowhere. So,
Yep.
he had that confidence in the pitch, and then he had that confidence within his own ability to do that. So, really good innings from Hanscom. And that's where I think India did lose the plot a bit there when Khawaja and Hanscom were playing. And I tweeted as well that kind of brilliance from a fielder somewhere, a brilliant
Uh,
run out or a catch or
yep.
something was
Yep.
needed. And KL Rahul did that. And then I also said, now, just get them out before 210. But again, Pat Cummins and Hanscom had a good partnership as well,
Yep.
which was needed for Australia as well.
Was desperate for Cummins to get some runs, so that was very handy there. But yeah, just on Hanscom again. I know you talk about he gets that bat out in front of the pad, but you look at his head position as well. It's right over the top of the ball. So I think with Travis Head, you saw it on a couple of occasions today. The bat goes well out in front of the body, so he's playing early. He didn't look as comfortable playing spin, even though he looked good on occasions. He didn't look his usual self. And he's got those issues against spin because he's probably playing too early, well out in front of the body, and the head position is just a bit further back than it needs to be. But he'll be good for the hit out. Yeah, Cummins scored runs. It was just that day where just again I feel it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I think the pitch was decent to bat on at times. I'm not saying it was easy. You're up against very good spinners and good paces on a pitch offering a little bit, but could have been more than 263. Could have been more. That's the feeling I get. Hopefully it's a score where you can restrict India and then put them under pressure in the final innings, but just felt like we left a bit out there, to be honest.
I
I know
feel
you say
263 is 30, 40 runs more than Australia should have got, especially with this kind of bowling and
oh
attack in these conditions, with the form they are in.
yeah, I get you, but
Um,
Australia win, 1 for 90, good start, and then Hanscom and Khawaja were going really well, and there's an opportunity there to build on those partnerships. India sort of had Australia's measure all day. I felt it was like,
yeah,
okay, Australia doing okay for now, but you just feel there could be a wicket around the corner, and then another one fell straight after. So I don't
yeah,
know. It's
and
just
but
we'll see what happens
good
tomorrow.
some good decisions made by Australia early on. Starting with Matthew Kuhneman with the new ball.
Yeah, I thought that
Get
was a good
get
move.
that angle across, getting in
Mm.
to the right handers. And um before we wrap up, coming to tomorrow, day two. Again, early morning start, 9:30. What do you think this Australian team will come out with? Do you think they just start with two spinners from both end?
No,
And
I think
because
Cummins will start.
that's one thing that India did today was they there were stages where they kept at least one fast bowler from one end.
Yeah.
Shami and Siraj, they were rotating them nicely, and both, Shami bowled 15 overs and Siraj bowled 10 overs. So that's 25 overs out of the 79 that India
Mm.
bowled. So, there were one fast bowler at least
Yeah.
going at some stage. So,
Australia won't be
um,
able to do that with the one fast
yeah,
bowler. So I think Cummins will start though. I think Cummins will start the day because you might get a little bit of nip in the
yep.
morning. And then probably start with maybe Kuhneman as well to the
Mm.
to the two right handers there. But just goes to show how Ashton Agar, he must be bowling terribly at training because he offers some batting cover there, and
Yeah,
he was the one originally picked in the tour, but Kuhneman, who came in, a few days ago, gets the nod over him.
yep.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on there because yeah, he must be. He must not be bowling well to not get picked.
Speaking about tomorrow from India, I expect nothing less than 400. Um,
To reach it
even
by
for
tomorrow, that's a quick run rate. Or you mean get that by day 3?
Yeah. I mean, get closer to 400, in this innings, sorry, in this innings.
Yeah, yeah,
Get closer to
yeah.
400. By tomorrow,
Just
I would say at least get, to 300, 350. at least close in on that score and then seal it on day three with, probably
Yeah,
scoring a
look,
bit quicker.
yeah. If India get to that score, it's I think it's curtains because then you're going to get Australia under severe pressure in the third innings, like we
Yep.
saw at Nagpur. Big day for Nathan Lyon. I know there was some low bounce there at the end, but there was some decent bounce throughout the day on the Delhi pitch, and that suits him. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. He needs to
Yeah,
perform.
and let's hope I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but let's hope for the best from an Indian point of view, and hopefully they get to 300, 350, and then day three just bat Australia out of the game.
Well, yeah, that'll be the plan, and Australia got to do the opposite. That's why I was hoping for a few more with the bat, but it's a massive day tomorrow for Australia. Got to
Yeah,
dig in and you got to bowl well all day because it's a long batting lineup as we saw in Nagpur. So yeah, all the best to both teams. Yeah, from an Australian perspective, hoping to see a good performance from the spinners and better bowling as well from Cummins. He's going to be crucial as
and
well.
also just pointing out we are playing at Virat Kohli's home ground, and
But there's a debutant
there's
playing. There's a debutant playing, and he
I'm just
likes
saying
to
there's still Virat Kohli's there's still a peak there. I'm just saying that, and you never know when it
look.
can come.
I believe it
Just
can come at any moment. But there's a debutant playing, and Virat Kohli likes
that's true as well.
to give his wicket away to the debutant.
That's
So
true. That's true to all legends
we'll see.
from India so far. So but
We'll
yeah.
see what happens there now. Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow to review day 2 and we'll see what position both teams are in. Looking forward to watching the action tomorrow. Thanks, Nash, and thanks to all the viewers. And you can also catch us on Spotify and Apple. And please, yeah, do subscribe to the channel. We appreciate your support. Thanks, guys.